Okay, let's take questions first on the CEC elections and then, of course, all educational matters, and then we'll go to other topics from there. So anything from our friends in the media on CEC elections or anything related to education? CEC elections or education? Yes.
So the state education department had set a deadline for mid-February for the DOE and Pearls, the group representing the Yeshivas, to come up with a plan for visits for the schools that are still not letting DOE investigators in. So I'm just wondering if any dates have been set up or what's the status of that.
Let me start and then the Chancellor can go into a little more detail. Let me just say, I believe right now there are 4 yeshivas that are still being recalcitrant. My message to those 4 yeshivas is time's up. You must let the DOE officials into your school. If not, there will be very serious consequences, and it's up to them. But we are unified with the state education department that there's going to be a very consistent approach. And I want to say, as I've said before, a number of yeshivas did open their doors originally, and a lot of progress was made, very tangible, consistent progress in addressing the issues. And by the way, I've said also, we have some problems in our traditional public schools that we have to fix school by school. So if we have problems in a yeshiva and they're working with us cooperatively, that means everyone is on the same level playing field. There were some yeshivas that hesitated, but now have gotten on the right path of engagement and are working with us constructively. There are 4 that are standing apart, and they should stop now.
So thank you. So yes, the deadline was February 15th, and perhaps as a precursor, we've agreed to meet on the 14th, the Day of Love, where we are actually meeting with representatives from the yeshivas. We are working through a plan. We will have joint professional development on the substantial equivalency regulations that the State Education Department has put forth. And we're going to walk out of there with a series of dates. The plan is to walk out of that joint training with a series of dates in which we will be able to visit. Again, our intent is, as the mayor has stated, we have an active complaint that we are still investigating. We've been very clear that we are looking to work with these private schools, and we continue to do that in a spirit of collaboration and cooperation. But let's be very, very clear, as the mayor has said, we are steely-eyed and determined to conclude our investigation and be able to move forward.
Just to follow up on the yeshivas, clarification, the meeting on the 14th, does it involve the 4 recalcitrant yeshivas that the mayor said? And then what are the very serious consequences, Mr. Mayor?
I'll be happy to tell you.
Yeah. So part of the letter from the commissioner required that we would meet together, representatives from the yeshivas and representatives from the Department of Education. That is who will be meeting. So it's representatives from both groups. And at that meeting, there will be joint training around the requirements in the state law, the requirements of the State Education Department. And part of the exit ticket is that we walk out with a series of dates of when we will be able to visit the schools.
4 yeshivas that the mayor referred to?
I believe it does. It's everybody that has an interest in those schools, and it's probably more of those other schools as well, but at least those representatives will be there.
Yeah, and Willie, some of, best of my understanding, some of the individuals representing a group of yeshivas include, the group they are representing includes yeshivas that are cooperating and the 4 that are not, so there's some overlap. But to your other question, the ultimate consequence, according to state law, is for funding to be cut off. And look, if a school will not allow entry to the Department of Education as the rightful authority that is meant to guarantee educational quality, if they're not even allowing entry, then they put their funding immediately in jeopardy. Any other questions on education from the media? Questions on education CECs? Please.
You won't, but you aren't going to close the schools. You can't.
Well, so here's my understanding, and you can correct me, but here's my understanding of the constitutional dynamics, that we are not in a position the state has certain authority, but the city of New York is not in a position to say to a private entity that you can't have a school. We are in a position to say, if you want public funding, you must abide by the standards set by the state and the city's authority under that state statute. Am I getting it right there, Richard?
Yes, sir. The only thing that I'll add to what the mayor said is under the state law and the revisions that were adopted in the last legislative session, I, as the chancellor, am not the finder of a substantial equivalency. That authority rests with the commissioner, the state commissioner. So my responsibility and our responsibility is to conduct these reviews, to go in and look, and then write a report to the commissioner. Now, I want to be very clear that there are two things happening at the same time. One is the investigation that has been ongoing, to which the mayor is speaking about the recalcitrants in allowing us to even go in and visit the schools. The other is that there is a law around all non-public schools. And the state law now says that every 3 years or every 5 years, there will be a review of all non-public schools. I will tell you, we don't expect any issues with that. We work very closely with non-public schools almost on a daily basis on a number of issues. So this will become very routine in terms of how we're all on the same page, but I want to make sure that we're clear about what will happen as a matter of state law. And right now what we're talking about is the reluctance or the flat out not allowing us to come in and visit schools. They commingle, but they're not the same thing.
And I want to note on that point, you know, every day Department of Education works with traditional public schools, charter schools, Catholic schools, and other Christian schools, every sort of Jewish school, Muslim schools, private schools, you name it. And the overwhelming reality is that these schools respect the authority of the Department of Education as the keeper of the standards under state law. Right now, there are only 4 yeshivas in all New York City that are not cooperating. And again, it's the moment of decision. They have a few days to get it together and open their doors, or else they will suffer the consequences. Anything else on